Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei? Or is it something bigger than that?
Imagine waking up in a world where Windows is no longer the default operating system, where China, not Silicon Valley, controls the software powering the next billion computers. This is not science fiction anymore. This is HarmonyOS Next. Huawei just made its most aggressive move yet. A full-scale replacement of Windows in China's consumer and business PCs. And unlike the early versions, this new system isn't Android-based. It's a completely independent OS that cuts Google and Microsoft out of the ecosystem entirely. Today, we are witnessing the moment China declares digital independence and the moment Microsoft realizes it has a new global rival. For years, HarmonyOS was treated like a side project, a backup plan Huawei kept in its pocket after the United States cut the company off from Google and restricted access to advanced chips. Western analysts laughed at it. Tech reviewers dismissed it as just another Android skin. And for a while, that criticism wasn't entirely wrong. The early versions of HarmonyOS still relied heavily on Android's underlying architecture, using it as a temporary foundation to keep Huawei's devices alive during the sanctions era. But that phase is over. Completely over. With the launch of HarmonyOS Next, Huawei has finally broken free from every piece of US-controlled software. This version is not Android-based. It doesn't contain a single line of Google services. It does not rely on Windows integration. HarmonyOS Next is the first fully independent operating system ever developed at this scale in China. And it's not just for phones. It's designed to run across PCs, tablets, wearables, smart screens, home devices, industrial tools, and even vehicles. The real reason behind this dramatic shift is simple: survival. When the US government blocked Huawei from using both Android and Windows, it forced the company into an impossible choice: either build something new or slowly die. Instead of collapsing, Huawei spent 5 years developing a long-term escape route, and in 2025, that escape route has become a full-blown digital rebellion. China's government is backing this move with unusual intensity. Under the country's IT independence campaign, thousands of state institutions, from ministries and hospitals to banks and research centers, have already begun preparing to phase out Windows-based systems. Huawei is supplying the hardware, the cloud platforms, and now the operating system that ties everything together. For a country focused on self-reliance, HarmonyOS isn't just convenient. It's a national priority. And here's what's truly surprising: developers are embracing it. Over 1.2 million Chinese developers have already started creating native HarmonyOS Next apps. Major platforms like WeChat, Meituan, Douyin, and China's biggest banking apps are rebuilding their software from scratch for Huawei's ecosystem. This is the kind of adoption even Microsoft couldn't secure during Windows 11's rollout. HarmonyOS was born as a defensive move. Today, it has evolved into China's most aggressive challenge to American software dominance. And, for the first time ever, Windows is facing a rival with the political support, technological resources, and national momentum to actually replace it. The biggest mistake Western analysts make is assuming HarmonyOS Next is trying to copy Windows or compete on the same battlefield. It's not. Huawei isn't building a better Windows, it's building a completely different vision of how computers should work. And that vision attacks Microsoft exactly where it has been weakest for decades. Windows was designed in an era where a PC sat on a desk, disconnected from everything else. HarmonyOS Next is built for a world where every device, your phone, your laptop, your tablet, your smart TV, even your car, is part of one unified computing network. Huawei calls this distributed architecture, but the real meaning is simple. Your devices stop being devices and start becoming one giant super device. With HarmonyOS Next, you can drag a photo from your phone to your laptop in real time without cables, cloud sync, or apps. You can redirect your phone's camera to your PC during a video call with a single touch. Your tablet can instantly take over your laptop's workflow as a second screen. Even smart speakers and watches become functional extensions of your computer. Windows, with all its legacy architecture, simply cannot match this fluidity without relying on dozens of external apps and cloud services. But it gets even deeper. HarmonyOS Next runs on a microkernel, which makes it significantly lighter, more secure, and more efficient than Windows' decades-old monolithic architecture. Huawei claims up to 30% faster system performance, 20% lower power consumption, and drastically reduced background resource usage. Apps written natively for HarmonyOS run closer to the hardware, meaning smoother animations, faster launch times, and instantaneous app switching. And here's the detail most people in the West miss. Huawei is rejecting the Android-style model where any app can run on any device. Instead, HarmonyOS Next introduces a new standard, native Harmony apps only. That might sound restrictive, but it gives Huawei full control over security, performance, and API access. Developers must rebuild their apps using Huawei's Arc compiler and Next-G development kits, which integrate AI at the system level. The result? Apps that respond faster than anything on Windows or Android, especially for AI-driven tasks. This shift isn't just technical, it's strategic. Huawei is building an ecosystem where hardware and software merge seamlessly, the exact formula that made Apple so powerful. And now, for the first time, China has an operating system that doesn't just compete with Windows, it out-evolves it. For decades, Microsoft had one great advantage. No matter what happened in the tech world, everyone still needed Windows. Governments needed it. Hospitals needed it. Banks needed it. Schools, manufacturers, ports, logistics centers, all of them ran on Windows. That stability powered Microsoft's empire. It generated billions in licensing fees and locked entire nations into a dependency they could not escape. But in 2025, that dependency is finally being broken. And not by a startup, not by a hobbyist operating system, but by the world's second largest economy. China's decision to switch government institutions, state enterprises, and public infrastructure to HarmonyOS-based systems is a direct strike at Microsoft's single most valuable revenue engine. Enterprise and government licensing. Losing consumer sales hurts, but losing government-scale contracts is catastrophic. Microsoft earns more from a single national ministry than from millions of individual users. And China has thousands of these institutions. Worse, China's shift is not happening gradually. It is happening strategically, aggressively, and with state coordination. Entire sectors, energy, finance, telecom, transportation, education, are being instructed to adopt Huawei's ecosystem. This means Windows is being pushed out of core industries that were once considered untouchable. But that's only the beginning. HarmonyOS Next is part of something much larger, a full-stack technology replacement strategy. Huawei isn't offering just an operating system. It is offering the operating system, the cloud, the CPUs, the AI accelerators, the developer ecosystem, and the security infrastructure. This creates an end-to-end solution that Microsoft simply cannot block, limit, or sanction. China is building a digital world where Microsoft, Google, and Apple have no structural influence at all. And here is where the real fear in Washington comes from. If China proves that a major modern economy can operate without Windows, other countries may follow. Many developing nations already rely heavily on Huawei for 5G networks, data centers, and cloud services. HarmonyOS could be the final piece that completes a low-cost, high-integration alternative to Microsoft's model. Nations in Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East, especially those already targeted by U.S. export controls, may see this as their path to digital independence. This isn't just about China rejecting Windows. This is about the possibility that entire regions could abandon American software dominance and replace it with a self-sufficient Chinese ecosystem. For Microsoft, this is not a threat. It's a nightmare, and it's already happening. When Huawei first announced HarmonyOS Next, most Western analysts shrugged it off as another China-only experiment. But the West is slowly waking up to a new reality. This is not an experiment. It is the largest coordinated software migration in modern history, and its consequences will extend far beyond China's borders. The first shockwave comes from something the US cannot control. An operating system cannot be sanctioned. Chips can be restricted, factories can be blacklisted, but software, especially software developed entirely inside China, is immune to export bans. Once HarmonyOS Next is deployed on millions of devices, no amount of political pressure can pull it back. For Washington, that is deeply unsettling. For Beijing, it is liberating. But the second shockwave is even bigger. China isn't just replacing Windows in offices and government buildings. It is replacing Windows everywhere Chinese products go. Laptops, tablets, smart TVs, industrial controllers, smart appliances, and even automobiles. Through hardware, HarmonyOS will spread globally without needing a Western market entry strategy. If China exports 300 million devices in a year, HarmonyOS goes with them. Then there is the geopolitical angle. Countries working closely with Huawei on 5G, data centers, and AI infrastructure are already discussing deeper software integration. The United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Brazil, South Africa, these countries want independence from US digital influence. HarmonyOS gives them exactly that. A full-stack ecosystem not controlled by Silicon Valley or Washington. And Western companies are starting to panic. If global manufacturers choose HarmonyOS as the default OS for low-cost devices, Microsoft risks losing the entry-level market entirely. Europe, still heavily reliant on Huawei for its telecom backbone, may eventually face decisions about compatibility and cost. Decisions that could tilt in Huawei's favor once HarmonyOS matures. Meanwhile, tech CEOs in the West understand something quietly but clearly. Operating system dominance is not just a business advantage. It is strategic power. Whoever controls the OS controls the apps. Whoever controls the apps controls the data. And whoever controls the data controls the future economy. For the first time in 40 years, the West faces a competitor capable of breaking that chain. The world is entering a split tech era where American software and Chinese software grow into two separate universes. The US can slow this shift, but it cannot stop it. HarmonyOS Next has already crossed the point of no return. HarmonyOS Next is more than a software upgrade. It is the moment China announces to the world that it no longer needs American technology to run its digital future. For decades, Windows was the backbone of global computing, untouchable, irreplaceable, and universally accepted. But now, for the first time, that dominance is being challenged not by a startup, but by a nation with 1.4 billion people, a state-backed technology ecosystem, and a clear mission to break free from dependence on the West. Whether HarmonyOS will spread beyond China is still uncertain, but inside China, the outcome is no longer in doubt. Windows is losing ground it once considered permanent, and Huawei is building a fully independent technology stack that the US cannot sanction, restrict, or shut down. This is not the old battle of iOS versus Android. This is something much bigger. America's software empire versus China's rising digital sovereignty. The operating system wars of the past decided convenience. The operating system war of today will decide power. What do you think this means for the future of technology? Will HarmonyOS reshape the global digital landscape, or will it remain confined to China's borders? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the tech wars shaping our world.